this is it. You know.
What's up?
Needs passwords.
Oh, space that.
Staff, no password. Got it. No, we don't.
No.
No, Sarah's coming, so. It's 3 minutes. We've not used everyone's new place yet.
Okay, but it's a quick minute. In the back.
Yep.
Give me 15 seconds or 30 seconds before you're ready to start, and I'll make it live.
Okay. Really felt like summer today. And summer solstice is tomorrow, right? Yeah. Perfect. You want to celebrate your birthday?
My neighbor always has a summer solstice party.
That's fun. Actually, the park district has a free yoga class in the evening. I think at the Arc.
Tomorrow?
Tomorrow, yeah, it's a like summer solstice free yoga. That's kind of fun.
You guys see me like glancing at my phone? My son's.
I know, that's what I'm saying.
He's going to see what the score is.
All right, stupid question. Why does this not make it scroll over there?
I don't think it should.
Might be broken.
I mean, I have to click on the bar and slide it, like hold down and slide it. But this doesn't do anything.
That's right.
All right.
Do you wanna try
Make sure it wasn't
yours?
pretty.
Yeah, you want to swap mice with this one?
Nice. Can't even work, right?
All right, I think we're ready.
Yes, me too.
Nope.
Nothing. No, it must be a configuration thing. We'll get you for next meeting. Okay. Or if you want to swap
I
laptops.
just wanna be- That's fine. No, I'm already set up. We're good.
Okay.
So I'm a little slow. Scroll to the next page.
Good evening. I would like to call to order the Board of Library Trustees for the evening. This is our regular board meeting, Tuesday, June 20th, 2023. Can I have a roll call, please?
Trustee Burrell here. Trustee Gala
Here.
Trustee Kelly here. Trustee Meadow.
Here.
Trustee Rule.
Here.
Trustee Zick is absent. President Samari.
Here. All right, if we could stand for the pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. All right, we have some liaison reports.
You want to do public comment?
Oh, sorry, public comment, anyone? No public comment.
And I do not have liaison reports from the Friends or Foundation. Friends are now on hiatus for the summer, and Foundation had no report. They said they have a few things in the works, but nothing to report on.
All right. Let's go to our first item on the agenda, approval of the minutes of the regular board meeting from May 16th, 2023. I'll entertain a motion to approve the minutes.
I make a motion to approve the minutes from the board meeting on May 16th, 2023.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? All right. Our second item is looking to approve the minutes from the committee of the whole meeting of the Board of Library Trustees on June 23rd, 2023. Or no, does it have the date on here? No. June 5th, sorry, June 5th, 2023. Do I have a motion?
I will make a motion to approve the minutes of the committee of the whole meeting on June 5th, 2023.
And a second?
A second.
All right, all in favor? Any opposed? Nope, all right, the motion carries. All right, how about a review of the financial report?
Okay. We did not receive any real estate tax revenue in the month of May. The library received personal property replacement tax of $70,628.49 this month. The library was awarded $114,572.10 for the 2023 Illinois Public Library per capita grant. This was the same amount as last year. Our copier printer revenue was $3,545.69. Meeting room fees were $500. Collection fees for late items was $100. Lost item charges totaled $1,242.90. Our interest income for May was $46,149.06. Donations totaled $112.83. Our Friends of the Library reimbursed us for $8,996.21. Revenue collected for vehicle stickers totaled $269. And our makerspace miscellaneous revenue was $542.27. Our total revenue collected in May was $248,436.58. Then on the expense side, 42% of the fiscal year has lapsed, and we have expensed 39% of our total operating budget. The favorable variance to date is $467,052. And 11% of our total annual capital budget has been expensed as of May. And just a reminder, for annual services or contractual services such as insurance premiums and stuff like that, we do pay those early in the fiscal year. So you'll see those come in high. So we may be considered over budget at this point on certain lines, but those will be spread and they'll catch up throughout the course of the year. So. And let's see. I think that's everything I have in the financial report. Anybody have any questions on anything specifically?
All right. Moving on to a review of the check register.
Okay, so I had a few questions regarding checks and then a couple other ones to point out here. On page 2 and page 15, check 100804 to M&J Technologies. There were various amounts, but the total was $12,477.75. Those are expenses for IT software, including our firewalls, email security, and email archive services, as well as a website application firewall. So we have a number of appliances that we renew service contracts on and our subscription base that renew every year, and that's what that is. On page 3, check 100700 for Adobe Max 2022, in the amount of $1,295. That is registration for the Adobe Max Creativity Conference this fall in LA, which our digital media specialist, Chris Smith, will be attending. The conference is an annual gathering of designers, directors, content creators, and other professionals where attendees receive hands-on training to learn new tools, techniques, and product features. Then on page 4, check 100832, Sarah Keister Armstrong and Associates in the amount of $7,800. That is the final payment for our strategic planning project. On page 5, check 100860 to Williams Architects, in the amount of $5,326.04. That is for Kids World project costs for April. That's for design and construction documents. Then on page 8, check 100699 to Accurate Employment Screening in the amount of $343.44. That is for employment and volunteer screenings or background checks for the month. There was a missing description in the import file that you'll see in the check register, and it just says ref instead of the description. So that was a error as they were transferring the information over to the village, but has been corrected. On page 10, check 100712 to AHML. That was petty cash disbursement. There were various amounts between $23.36 and $37.97. That is for plants and soil for the AHML Giving Garden. So this is the second season that AHML staff and volunteers have tended a garden plot with the Viatorian Giving Gardens. And the goal is to provide space and community for gardeners who are giving back to the community. AHML donates at least half of what we grow and finds creative ways to utilize the rest of our yield for the season. So for instance, Maker Place, kitchen classes, local garden swaps, etc. Then on page 12, check 100821 to Quadiant Incorporated in the amount of $588.22. That is quarterly billing for the postage machine located in our administrative office. That includes machine maintenance. On page 14, check 100714 to AHML. This one is an American Express charge on the amount of $1,570. That is for our Quick Tap annual survey, which is an electronic survey software which we use to collect feedback on programs and exhibits, so customers can rate their experience, and then shows up in our dashboard. Then on page 15 and on page 50, check 100778 to Illinois Heartland Library System. There's two checks, one in the amount of $701.88 and the other one in the amount of $291.62. That is for our monthly interlibrary loan costs, as well as our Easy Proxy service, which allows remote users to connect to our databases and authenticate against our library system.
Mike, is that based on how many books or materials are
I believe it's-
requested from that? I mean,
Yeah, we pay we pay for some, we don't pay for
Right,
others,
and
but yeah, it's based on the
how
numbers.
much it is.
Pretty sure that's correct. Dana, you know, for sure on that one.
Yeah,
Yeah,
all right, no
Yeah.
problem.
then let's see, next one, page 15 and page 58, check 100827 to RCN Internet. That is in the amount of $5,034.32. That is for 2 months of internet service for the staff computers at the main library and at the Maker Place. We pay Comcast for internet service for the public use computers. Then on page 17, check 100711 to Arlington Heights Ford in the amount of $2,681.01. That is repairs to the van that we have. We had a leaking brake line on there, so they replaced both rear brake lines. Then on page 17, again, check 100752 to Filter Services in the amount of $783.78. That is filter changes for our air handlers in the 68 and 78 buildings here in the main library. The Seasons 4 unit, which is our new HVAC unit on the rooftop, and then the Belmont rooftop units also. Then on same page 17, carries over to 18. Check 100755 to Fry's Automotive Services in the amount of $3,261.41. That is for bookmobile repairs. There was a coolant line that was leaking that we had to bring in for repair. We've had the bookmobile in now 2 or 3 times for coolant leaks. And so they did a little bit deeper dive this time just to make sure there wasn't a bigger issue going on. But it just seems that, you know, it's getting a little bit older and some of those parts are corroding. And so we got that fixed. Page 18, check 100809 to Nightport Gas in the amount of $1,653.71. In general, with respect to utilities, we are 42% of the way through the year, and our main library is 28% expended, while Makerspace is 32% expended on natural gas. So we also locked in a low rate for natural gas when we renewed our contract with IGS last time. And then on the American Express summary, there were a couple of fraudulent charges. I want to say it added up to around $96. Those have been identified with American Express. The card was canceled. They've issued a new card, and we will be receiving a credit on that for our next statement. So just so you're aware of that. Any questions on any other checks that I didn't cover? Okay.
Maybe a weird question, but
Yeah.
are they sure that we've gotten all of the fraudulent charges that were on the card?
Yeah, we, Tracy, do you want to speak to this?
Yeah, they were pretty obviously ones that we didn't recognize. We don't charge a ton for the card, so they popped out and then we just monitor it really regularly now to make sure we don't have any larger concerns.
Great, thank you.
And those do pop up every once in a while, and our facilities, or I'm sorry, our finance team is really good about catching them. And then we report them, they cancel the card, they send us a new one, and we get credit, so.
Very good.
Thank you.
May I have a motion?
And move the approval of the accounts payable check register for Arlington Heights Memorial Library for May 31st, 2023 in the amount of $1,139,921.35.
May I have a second?
A second.
All right, can we do a roll call, please?
Trustee Farrell,
Yes.
trustee Bella,
Yes.
trustee Kelly,
Hi.
trustee Meadow,
Yes.
trustee Rule, president Samar.
Aye. All right, thank you. The executive director's report.
Okay, all right, I will highlight a few things from the director's report here. On the first page, our youth services staff were honored to accept an award recognizing the hub and the library as a safe space. This was awarded by the Kenneth Young Center's Youth Advisory Council. The recognition is especially meaningful since the nomination and recognition come directly from the teams we serve every day. So that was a very nice honor that we received. Out of the 10 safe spaces selected after the nomination process, AHML was one of 2 libraries honored. On the next page, our District 25 Art Show. The Arlington Heights School District 25 Art Show beautified the front or the first floor of the library from May 1st to May 25th. This year's annual spring art show featured 2D and 3D art from elementary and middle school students from the entire district. The art that was displayed was selected by the students' art teachers. Staff welcomed just over 1,000 artists and their family members to celebrate student creativity at 2 bustling receptions on May 3rd and 10th. And more than 5,900 library customers and staff enjoyed the art show during its stay at the library. Did anybody happen to come to the reception? It was really cool to see. Okay, on the next page, page 3, we swing into spring. Library staff enthusiastically embraced the arrival of spring at Arlington Heights' newest festival, Swing into Spring. Youth Services Specialist Carrie Bailey, Programs and Exhibit Specialist Emily Musinski, Digital Services Advisor Minnie Rakshanen, Community Engagement Liaison Catalina Shin, and Bookmobile Supervisor Ron Moravik set up interactive outreach tables and welcomed a total of 590 individuals. Together, they engaged with visitors who wanted to hear about library happenings and explored the bookmobile for checkouts, returns, and library card services. Then on page 5, our genealogy and local history librarian, Eddie Christen, who's a fairly new employee, assisted a group of individuals from out of the country with research. They are relatives of an Arlington Heights Civil War veteran, John Seibert, and were seeking documentation and burial information about him. Eddie used the library's online resources and print materials in the Shapley room to contribute to their project, and the veteran is now honored at Memorial Park. So this was a nice, just a nice story of how, our services, our genealogy services can help to support a project such as that. Billy, do you want to speak to that at all?
Just that it was pretty cool, like they contacted Mike first and he passed it along and Eddie did put one under 3 months. Hey, when you can push out the, so he went back and forth with the family quite a bit. They had already done a lot of research, but he said he was able to offer some new avenues and it was great to see that article.
And they haven't highlighted it in the program for Memorial Day at the park too, which I thought was really great.
Okay, then on page 6, in collaboration with other senior service or senior center partner agencies, the library's senior and accessibility staff hosted a busy morning of health and fitness related activities for older adults and their family members. Over 150 seniors visited to attend demos, lectures, connect with resources, and get free health screenings. This was our National Senior Health and Fitness Day. Then on page 8, our volunteer fair returns. Nikki Camp and Jay Samela of our Programs and Exhibits Department planned and hosted the return of the volunteer fair on Sunday, May 7th. More than 130 attendees, teen through adult, joined the event in the Hendrickson Room to meet 24 community organizations representing their volunteer opportunities. This year's event, the first since 2018, was dubbed How Can I Help? And featured a mix of new and returning organization, including Lemons of Love, Honor Flight Chicago, the Buddy Foundation, and our own library volunteer opportunities represented by our AHML volunteer coordinator, Jennifer Bugage. The organizations provided a warm welcome and wealth of information to customers eager to find their next volunteer opportunity. Attendees enjoyed conveniently exploring opportunities from such a diverse range of local organizations in one place, while organizations had great things to say and indicated they received a lot of signups. Okay, then on page 9, this month's Inspired by Art Night focused on the mental health benefits of art through neurographic art as a tie into Mental Health Awareness Month. Each participant got to create 2 watercolor paintings while reflecting on their emotions and current stresses. Paintings were as varied as the participants, ranging from abstract rainbow pieces to more figurative and landscape pieces. Participants loved the program, saying, "Love everything about Inspired Art Nights." And the program was casual, comfortable, with wonderful hostesses. Then on page 10, our info services manager, Jolie Duncan, was appointed to serve on the Illinois Library Association's Intellectual Freedom Committee. This committee works to resist all attempts to censor library materials or to restrict public access to information. Our info services librarian, Megan Butera, was appointed to the American Library Association Reference and User Services Association Committee for Business Reference in Public Libraries. This group promotes professional development on the topic for libraries and library staff nationwide. And I was appointed to serve on the Illinois Library Association's Public Policy Committee. This committee provides the association's focus on legislative matters, recommends studies on projects designed to advance the development of all types of libraries, and advocates legislation action which advances library service for all residents of Illinois. And then Katie Myers and Chris Kruger prepared a session proposal for ILA 2023, focusing on the success of our 3D printed assistive toolkits. If you guys remember those, we handed those tools around at the joint breakfast meeting with the village. And that was the collaboration between those two, between digital services and the Senior and Accessible Services Department. The session is titled Making Technology Accessible, Creative and Assistive Tools Kit, and will be presented at the October 2023 ILA conference. Then our info services librarian, Brittany Coleman, is an active member of the Illinois Library Association's Diversity Committee, and this month she moderated a discussion series for library professionals. The ILA Diversity Committee hosts the United Shades discussion series to foster a culture of inclusivity and discussion. This series is inspired by the CNN show United Shades of America, where Camu Bell explores different communities in the U.S. and their unique challenges. Each discussion is framed around a single episode of the television series. And then we have a couple of graduates this month, Sarah Dunton in materials handling and Madeline Stevens, also in materials handling, both earned their bachelor's degrees. That is everything I have from the director's report. Do you guys have any questions about anything in there or the dashboard?
You know, I was looking at the, well, first of all, this is always one of my favorite things that when we receive the information for the meetings. I love everything that's going on. I love the pictures. And I was thinking, I know that this is available on the website. If someone goes through to look at the materials and then clicks through, I don't know. I wonder if you might consider an icon on the homepage or something. I just think between this and when our customers get the newsletter in the mail, it's really impressive, and you can see all the different things like some of these things, maybe didn't fit into your schedule, but it's really fun to see how they turned out. So I just would encourage everyone to really take a look at this, because I think it really speaks well of what we do, what you do. And then on the dashboard, I just had a question. I don't know if you can answer it. Looking at circulation, it looks like audio visual, it's down a bit from last year. And I'm just wondering, because people are streaming more, because we're streaming music, we're streaming TV, we're streaming movies. I just wonder if you're seeing any.
I think we're seeing more normalization of some of the regular materials that people are checking out in place of the AV stuff. So I think during COVID and we saw a huge spike in audiovisual and downloadables. And
Yeah.
I think what we're seeing is those kind of normalizing now.
Yeah. But downloadable still up.
You're right,
I just,
right. Not as much as it was.
I don't even know if there's a CD player in my car anymore. Like, I don't think there is. So I just wonder if that's, if we're gonna see that change.
Yeah, I think a lot of people have moved to streaming.
Right. Right. Any other comments? All right, thank you.
Okay, next up, I'd like to introduce Jolie Duncan, our info services manager, and Tam Schwarting, our lead info services supervisor, to give us a presentation on the info services department. So they prepared a PowerPoint we'll go through, and I'll just take a minute here to get it up on the screen. Okay.
Good.
Let me just get rid of it. All right, you're good to go.
Okay, all right. As Mike said, I'm Julie Duncan, the info services manager, and this is Pam. It was nice to see info kind of highlighted in that director's report. So hopefully that gives a little bit of a intro to what we're going to talk about this evening. So really, we just wanted to come and speak to you all about our department, things that we're doing, things that were introduced to you in the last few years, and kind of where we're going. So I want to start with a little bit of department history. So this is our team as it was in November. Of course, there's all these people coming and going. So this is a really good time for us to talk to you guys, because we actually celebrated our 10-year anniversary in November. So our department was created 10 years ago in 2012, and we threw ourselves a party. We called it the Infoversary, and we got a cake and we had a picture booth, and we really celebrated our department, which was really fun. And it gave us a chance again to kind of look to see all that we've accomplished in the last 10 years. So just like a little bit of history, 10 years ago here at the library, we did a massive renovation, but also a reorganization. So at that time, we combined several different departments into this larger department of info services, with a point being to streamline services, streamline the desks, so customers could kind of go to one central space instead of all the different service stuff that we have. And then one bigger development was the creation of our call center, which Pam's going to talk about a little bit more later, but again, with the idea of streamlining the calls into one service point. So a little bit about like kind of who we are. So in addition to me and Pam, we have a supervisory team. We have a very experienced supervisory team. I think it's probably one of the most experienced ones in the library. So I've been here 10 years. Pam's been here almost 20. I have another supervisor who's been here 9. Another one who will celebrate 26 years this year, and another one who will be here 40 years next year. So like we have a wealth of institutional knowledge, which is really important, I think, in our role here. Then we have a group of info librarians who were highlighted a little bit in the report. So we have Eddie, who focuses on genealogy and local history. We have a librarian who focuses more on business outreach, one that focuses on jobs and careers, another one who's a little more focused on financial, as well as like just general reference information as well. Then we have a team of advisors. That's our readers advisory group. So they help with book discussions, book lists, book recommendations, and our readers programs. And then info assistants, their primary responsibility is that direct customer service, so they're staffing our service points, but they also assist with kind of the large scale library programs like FanCon, OBOB, so they'll help with things like that. And then our physical service points, we have the info desk, the call center, the shop, which is our genealogy and local history, and then the second floor desk, which manages the conference. So Pam's gonna go into a little bit more about our call center.
As Billy said, I'm Pam Shorting. I'm one of the lead supervisors of the team. And as she mentioned, when the info services department was created and the call center was created more than 10 years ago, the goal was to shorten the time and distance between a customer's needs and the resource or answer that they wanted. So as you can see, this means that we answer and support the work of all the other departments. So info services staff answer 89% of the calls or questions that come in centrally to the library. So only 11% of incoming calls are routed to another department or staff member. So this means that we are continually training our staff to be able to handle questions on ESL, Kids World, Hub, any one of these, and supporting these other departments to ensure that we're giving accurate, quality, and reliable information. And I'm wondering if anyone has a guess about how many calls we get in the call center each month. Good guess. We handle approximately 3,500 calls per month. And in fact, in 2022, we handled around 45,000 calls. And since 2014, when we have tracking statistics, we have answered more than 539,000 calls in the call center.
Sorry, question about the previous slide. What is SAS?
Sorry, it wouldn't fit in the thing, the Senior and Accessibility Services.
Okay.
I know acronyms are tough, sorry, yes. So this is our call center there, as you can see, and we answer a variety of questions, which I've alluded to. So some ready reference questions like placing a book on hold, renewals and item lookups. We make conference room reservations, studio reservations, make or place equipment reservations. We register customers for programs, book discussions. We answer reference questions on a variety of topics from genealogy to business to health to finance. And there's certainly never a dull moment. In fact, one of our busiest days was in August of 2017 during the solar eclipse. Our staff answered more than 100 calls in the first hour of the day. Where can I get eclipse classes? What time is the eclipse? And how do I watch and more?
And I did want to just kind of pull out our conference rooms, because this is actually one of our service points that is very busy and has rebounded since COVID. So it is reached its pre-COVID levels of busyness. And so I just wanted to kind of highlight, there's a variety of uses that it's used for. Of course, it's not just this, but you can see kind of the different people using those rooms. So there's 14 conference rooms, 12 smaller, and then 2 additional ones that fit up to 16 people. And then we also manage the Hendrickson room for public use. So our department does that as well. But we've definitely seen an increase, probably not surprising, of people working remotely. For sure, you know, interviewing through Zoom. And then as you can see, some other organizations, Team Finals Week is a big, busy week for us up here. The teams love to use the conference rooms up here. So definitely a very busy point. So those first opened in 2013. So we've helped 323,000 customers since that opened in 2013. So we want to kind of spend the rest of our time talking a little bit more about our specialty areas and the programming that we do. So as I mentioned with our reference services, we have a team of librarians who have different specialties that they focus on. All of our staff will answer those ready reference questions that Pam alluded to, but we do have a referral system in place that the more in-depth reference questions will go to our degree librarians. And so here are some just examples of questions that we're answering on a weekly basis and not a daily basis. Some of these we're answering every day. So definitely the genealogy focused questions, answer a lot of health related questions, looking at doctors, but also maybe they got a diagnosis and they want some more information on their diagnosis. So we can help them find articles on that. We do a lot of connection to local social service agencies, helping them find pro bono attorneys. We also do a lot of like helping them find housing resources, low income housing, that kind of thing. So as Pam said, since we're answering, 89% of those calls, we really have a pulse of like what the community is asking. And as a result, during COVID, we created some online information pages, and these have been really nice resource for our customers to go to online. So we have a civics and voting page, tax information, community and social services, and then personal finances. So again, just some resources for them to go to online. Oh, and then I just wanted to highlight two really fun reference questions that we've gotten recently. So this, someone from the Oxford English Dictionary called us and wanted to do some research on the term staycationer and where it originated. So they had done a little research, they knew it was from the Daily Herald, so we helped them locate that article, looked it up in our archive and sent it, and here it is cited, which is cool to see. And then this one, this was a customer who was doing research for a book on mafia, the mafia in the suburbs. And so he used our databases to do quite a bit of research, finding historical news articles, and this was one that we helped him locate. So those are just, you know, some fun reference questions that we were able to connect people to. And Pam's gonna talk more about the reader services.
Okay, so as Jolie mentioned, we have reference and then reader services, and we have a team of 6 readers advisors who's in addition to the other call center and info desk, they work on sharing their literary expertise through either customer interactions or programs. And this is a screenshot of our reader services page, which gives customers the opportunity to see each reader's advisor. Underneath is their reviews, any book list, and this helps create a personal connection with our readers advisors. Some of our readers programs include hosting book discussions, such as our bi-monthly Books and Brews, page turner discussions, and we do a quarterly read and reflect. These discussions offer an opportunity for customers to connect around a book. And one customer recently said, this was one of the best book discussions I've been to in years. The insight and character discussions opened my eyes to several aspects of the books that I hadn't thought of. And we also recently started a Beyond the Book discussion that is hosted at the Maker Place, where customers discuss a book while crafting at the Maker Place. And this has been a great way to bring readers to the Maker Place who might not know of the Maker Place. And actually, during a recent discussion, 6 of the 8 attendees had never been to the Maker Place. So this is kind of a fun way to bring readers and crafters together. And we're looking to continue this going into the next year. In the library, we create monthly displays that are diverse, inclusive, and timely. And these displays include DVD displays and monthly theme displays like the Black History Month display you see here, and also staff picks. These displays offer a great way for customers to browse books. And in 2022, we circulated over 8,000 items just from our displays. And in addition to the in-library, we create online book lists, which these are a snip of, for customers to browse curated lists, such as celebrating Pride Month titles or AAPI voices. And in 2022, we posted more than 70 book lists to our webpage. And for displays and lists, we do collaborate with communications and marketing to make sure that we're promoting these displays and book lists on social media or even on our webpage. We have also developed some unique and inventive ways to connect with readers and provide advisory services. So we offer a subscription called Lit Crate, where customers sign up for a 6-month subscription, and then we hand select a book based on what their reading preferences are and package it for them to pick up. So this is an example of one, I believe it was in January. It included the sleep mask, a meditation bookmark, and then the hand selected. And actually, I will note that resting my reading eyes, we our advisors went over to the Maker Place and made those. So we're using ours.
I was there while they were doing it.
So that's a fun, and we do curate 50 Lit Crates bi-monthly for a total of 300 Lit Crates a year. We do form-based readers advisory called Book Me, this is the center one, where customers provide us their reading preferences, and we will curate a list of 10 to 12 books that we recommend based on their preferences. And in fact, there are Book Me forms at each of your places. Feel free to try out that service. You can fill it out and just turn it into the info desk or turn it into Mike, and it'll make its way to us. Otherwise, it's available online. So we would love it if you want to try that service. And then finally, we have our Page Turners discussion group, which is a Facebook page dedicated to discussing all things reading and books. We currently have 415 members in this group, and our advisors post a couple times a week with prompts such as, what are you reading now? What's your favorite book? And right now we're even doing like a book tournament. So this is a fun way to engage with readers in the community. And Jolie is going to share a little bit more about some of the larger initiatives that we've done.
So in addition to all of that, we have expanded into larger initiatives, of course, in partnership with programs and other departments in the library. But one of our bigger ones that we launched last year is Lip Stroll, which is actually coming up this Saturday, and I believe it's full. It's full with a wait list right now, so that's a great turnout so far, sign up rate. But this was a really fun event that we did. We partnered with 4 local businesses in downtown Arlington Heights and then brought in 4 local authors. And so, you know, we moved from place to place to see the authors at different locations, and people really enjoyed that. They really enjoyed, you know, getting out, walking around, and then that interaction with the authors. So I think this Saturday, it's gonna be another great event. And then another thing that we've done on a larger scale is we partner with the Illinois Department of Employment Services for a job fair. We bring in a variety of local businesses. We have Amazon, Medieval Times, there's Zurich. This past, we did one in 2023 already. We had 200 attendees and 24 people got jobs. So it's kind of like a direct connection of a success with that. And then OBOB, 10 years running. So Infos played a pretty important role in OBOB for each of the 10 years, collaborating with programs, or the last 2 years we've helped lead the initiative. So this is always a fun thing that we love to do. And then here's some new things that we've launched just in the past year. We introduced a texting service. So in addition to calling us, chatting us, emailing us, you can now text us, which has actually proved to be pretty popular. I think people like that. They like the texting, so that's great. We have these take-home job kits, which have been a really great resource for job seekers. It has some resources, and then the part of our librarian that they can set up a one-on-one appointment with her. And I think there's 250 of those have gone. And then this is as Pam said, we've done more collaborations with the Maker Place. Our business advisor, Diane Malik, is pretty involved with the chamber. So this is an event that she helped do at the Maker Place with the chamber. We also have, like Pam said, the book discussions at the Maker Place, and then we have a business program and a jobs program coming up at the Maker Place to kind of like help integrate those services. And then finally, one thing that I think we've done a nice job of is supporting other departments with our knowledge and providing training. So this past year, in collaboration with the collections department, we did a library ethics training. We're developing a phone training that we'd like to roll out library-wide. We've done privacy training with other departments, and then how to manage those challenging conversations with customers. We've done that training as well. So that's our spiel, but we're happy to take questions you guys might have or thoughts.
I think that's amazing. Like you guys do so much, and it's so vital and important, and you know, and when you answer the phone, it could be anything, and to be able to pivot and navigate and field all of it is, you know, as seamlessly as you do, it's really, you know, it says a lot about your leadership and dedication to the library and the different aspects of it. So kudos. Thank you.
Yeah, it struck me that you're totally seen as the local resource for anything from, you know, health to eclipses to books. And I've called before, you know, and everyone is very, very friendly and helpful. And I think you have a tremendous staff. So you're doing a great job. And how big is your department? How many staff members do you have? You must be the biggest
I
department.
think it's 35, because
Yeah.
maybe 32.
Yeah.
32.
And when I saw the picture, like, people move around, right? Like sometimes they're downstairs at the info desk, sometimes up here, sometimes in the back. That's
Yeah.
probably nice for them too.
Yeah, so like for the most part, everybody works all of our service points. So in a shift, in one shift, you're for sure working in the call center and then moving to the info desk. And then usually the person up here will work their whole shift up here, but then it changes. You know, the next day they'll be in the call center. So yeah, everybody knows all the different service points. Yeah.
Nice. That's great.
You mentioned that you kind of have like a pulse on the community. Have there been certain things, like, I guess pandemic aside, that's obvious, but there have been certain things that have kind of stuck out, like, again, like the eclipse, like other things that you've been like, oh, a lot of people asking about this.
Yeah, I mean, we for sure can see trends, like, if there's something that maybe is confusing in the newsletter, like we'll hear about that, right? Or if they're the way that a program description is written up, like we might hear, you know, some feedback on that. I think you know, as far as like reference types of questions that we're getting, will, you know, along the time of fake news and media literacy, like that kind of thing, we definitely would see a rise in like people asking questions, like they would get emails, right? Like you would get an email that's, I don't know, from your uncle, and you're not sure if it's a true or not, so like we would, you know, look up and see, is this a scam, is this legit? So like we kind of saw a spike during that time. I would say after COVID, we saw a little bit of a spike in the social services, you know, need for some social services. And then
We had Ukraine, like we ended up developing like a Ukraine resources page because people were calling and asking us what's happening, or certainly the civics and voting page was sort of out of people calling and saying, how do I find more information on my polls, where can I go? Yep.
So it's kind of a mix of like global things and local.
yeah, I think like if there's something that's out in the news, we will probably get a phone call on it. And we have, you know, we have customers who don't use computers, you know, so like they will see something on the news, they'll hear something on the radio, and they'll want to call and verify that or get more information on that. So we definitely see that correlation. Sometimes we'll like see a spike in certain topics, and then we just kind of do deeper training with our staff, because we're like, okay, people are asking, like the voting is an interest. Like, yeah, people always have questions about candidates, who's endorsed, what judges are recommended. So like we've done training with our staff so that they know where to find that information.
I'm just curious, are you getting questions about the Bears? Have you
Oh,
got?
I'm sure we have.
Yeah, it's just topic of
Probably.
choice in Arlington Heights, right?
If it's in the news, I'm sure we've got it, yeah.
Yeah, first, thank you very much for all you do, but also it's a really thorough presentation. I didn't know that you put all of the resources online, which is such a great idea. Is it under, like, I know there's info for citizens, where would one find that?
There's, I'll have to research.
Oh, it's so, yeah, I mean, I didn't mean to put you on the spot for that at all. It just, it's on, is it under the menu? Okay.
If you, yeah, scroll through the drop down, I think there's a services,
Do you
am
want
I
me to pull
making
it up?
that up?
Yeah, no, no, it was just really cool you did that.
They're
I
kind
didn't.
of- This is a good test for us.
Okay, all right. Wait to see the
Good test for the
positive.
executive.
Yeah,
But he really is on top.
There we go. I was on the wrong keyboard.
I was just curious because I work in the social services, so it's great to be able to.
We need to call that.
So our, yeah, community services, and then there's an offshoot on that
Okay.
page, and then the tax information is there. And then I think under research is where they're. Yeah, the civic and voting, which is not fine
Okay.
yet,
So
so,
the community services is under that services and then community
Yeah.
services right down there.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's under
I
community.
did research on my own. I just,
yeah, so it's all down.
Voter registration.
no, that's awesome. Thank you.
Yeah, and that page, I don't know if it's completed yet, but we were working on translating that into Spanish. Too, like to have a
Yeah.
printable or something that we can hand out.
Thank you. And thank you.
One more question, for the chat with us button, I think I remember, I'm not sure if this is still the case, but. It used to be that you partnered with, you know, some other libraries, I think across the country.
Yeah.
So that if it was after hours, you know, someone on the West Coast could answer a question, is that still?
Yeah, so we're in a consortium, so that's why it's 24/7. And so, yeah, hours that were closed, backup librarians across the country and into the UK will cover us, and then we cover hours for them too. So like, I used to do it a long time ago, but it's kind of funny, like you will cover Minnesota, UK, New York, different libraries. So, and they can answer a lot of the questions we get. They can't go into accounts or, you know, personal information, but general questions about how do I do this? What are the library's hours? You know, that kind of stuff. They can answer questions.
Kind of curiosity, because you do see issues that arise, people are calling about, like low income housing, like you mentioned. Like, I wonder if our, like, village ever, you know, like, if, not that you guys need to report them, but like, we do work, you know, we're part of the village. And like, are these, you know, topics or things that the trustees on the village board become aware of? Because, I mean, you guys are on the front lines, and like, as a trustee, we don't, like, even this board, we don't always see what those questions are. And it just seems like a really valuable resource, and even like the training that you were talking about, like with how to field calls and all of that kind of thing, I'm like, ooh. My staff could totally benefit from coming in and talking to, you know, like phone specialists, right? Like, that's really an amazing program we put together, but. Kind of made me wonder if any of that information is ever sort of passed along to the governing bodies to be like, hey, there's a concern for low income housing or.
We do work with the village social worker,
Okay.
and so that's something we've developed over the past few years, and she'll come in once. Usually it's once a month, sometimes it's not quite as often, and have a table down, in the new and popular area, so that's nice. Catalina Shen, the community outreach specialist, has also worked with her a little bit to help gather resources. So that community and social service page, was bolstered by some information the social worker gave us. I know one thing that I don't know if it's village sponsored but now there's a centralized phone number you can call, so for someone who doesn't have housing. So if someone comes to us and is like, I don't have housing, I don't know how to find something, they call that number first. And then they help them find housing from there. Or previously, it was kind of like, there was all different sources you could go to, so that like central point of intake, I think they call it a single point of intake, has been really helpful.
Good to know, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, we will move on to old business. The first item on the agenda for old business is a decision on a customer appeal of his suspension. And I know that we heard from the customer at our committee of the whole meeting earlier this month. We also received some helpful information from our attorney. I'm wondering if any of the trustees would like to have a discussion on this, or if we feel like we're ready to vote.
There should be a motion before discussion.
Okay, so as you can see on our sheet here, we have 3 suggested motions depending on how people feel. So I would entertain a motion if someone would like to make one.
Sure, I move that the Board of Library Trustees affirms the 1-year suspension issued May 11, 2023, and ending May 10th, 2024.
May I have a second?
I'll second.
Okay, how about the discussion?
Well, I think one thing that should be added to it is subject to an interview with the executive director and head of security. Before the person is let back in, they need to meet and understand. I would be in favor of reducing it somewhat, maybe to 9 months. Probably not much more than that. If that would cause less problems for the staff, shall we say, but definitely there needs to be an interview at the end.
And
Yes.
if I may,
Yeah.
trustee Mel, would that be just in this specific case or like?
I think it should be a process. I think in the policy or whatever that's developed, that should become common practice. That, you know, you review what has happened and, you know, basically lay down the law, you know, that this is it, you're back in, but, you know, and it just, rather than just say, okay, time's up, now they can come in and, no, I think it's important to engage in that conversation. It's not a discussion, it's really conversation. It's really more one-sided than for the one-sided with the library speaking, not necessarily the person.
Trustee Rule.
Thank you. We had kind of been part of the conversation, or at least it was in my head. Maybe we didn't actually talk about it, but I do agree that the policy does potentially needs review. And so that there is that follow-up and follow-through of like, this is what led us down this road. And this is, you know, kind of like, this will be the next step, should this happen again, kind of, you know, and where things are, and where, you know, just sort of like you said, laying down the law. Yeah, I did have a question, and then I'm not trying to muddy waters. When we say suspension, does that mean that like online downloads and things like that do not work as well?
Correct.
I just wanted to be understanding what that meant.
You know, one thing I had a question on when I was reading that, is this person in our library, he lives in Mount Prospect?
Right,
Mhm.
reciprocal borrower.
Well, then I think come down harder. They're not a taxpayer. We're beholden to our taxpayers, the fringes. Do what we can, but, did you, by any chance, did you call the director of Mount Prospect to see if this individual has been made known over there?
We reached out to her, but I don't think we heard back.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Yeah, Roger actually sent her.
I agree with both of you that I think our policy might need a couple extra bullet points, and we talked about perhaps looking at that maybe at the end of the summer. Because I felt like it took us to a certain point where we invited Mr. O'Meara in for, you know, to discuss his case and request a different outcome. However, we had the open hearing and we listened to him, but to your point, I really like the idea of when someone is suspended to come back and talk to the executive director, someone from security before being reinstated. And also perhaps we need a bullet or two about we have a meeting and then we vote on it. It never really stated that specifically. So
I would, I guess, just to the point of clarification for the, I still am in a belief of for the 12-month suspension, but, trustee Metal, did you mention like if it was less on the staff, did you have a?
Yeah, you know, I
concern,
changed
or-
my mind. It's
Okay,
reciprocal borrower. I'm sorry.
okay, then in
If
that.
it was an Arlington Heights resident, I might bend a little, but I just remembered, it popped in my head that the person lived in Mount Prospect. And so I think that's fine. And if we could add, subject to an interview with now, does security report to you or does it report
The
to?
report to me.
Okay, yeah, then it would be you, subject to the interview with the executive director of security.
I can amend the motion, but Andy, I saw your, did you want to? say
Yeah, I
something?
just wanted to be clear that it was, someone said that it was a hearing. I don't know that we actually, like, we didn't have a hearing. He was given the opportunity to come and speak. So just in case there's some sort of, you know, foot in your mouth, who's been really good at doing
yeah,
that.
no, that was probably me. He appealed his suspension.
There we go.
We gave him that.
I just want to make sure that like no one thinks we're a legal court or something
We are
like that, or
not.
it's taken out of context, so. Just wanted to clarify. So-
Okay, so there is a motion on the table.
I amend that, can I amend that?
You
right?
amend it.
All right, then, I move that the Board of Trustees affirms the 1-year suspension issued May 11th, 2023, ending May 10th, 2024. Subject to a meeting with the executive director prior to lifting of the suspension.
Oh, second.
Second. Let's take a roll call.
Trustee Burrell,
Yes.
trustee Dalla,
Yes.
trustee Kelly,
Aye.
trustee Meadow,
Yes.
trustee Rule,
Right.
president Samari.
Aye.
Mike, you got the writing down for Roger or whatever.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
All right.
Thank you.
Moving on to awarding the Kids World renovation project.
Okay, so this is the moment we've all been waiting for quite some time. This project has been in design and development for over a year. We have gone out to bid and received our bids back. We have Brooke from Shells McNutt joining us this evening. Brooke, would you like to join us at the table? And Andy Dogan from Williams Architects joining us via Zoom. So we were going to walk through the bid results and answer any questions that you guys have regarding the project. So I'm just going to kind of give you a overview here. So the base bids that we received came in at $404,970. And if you look at on page 2, the estimated budget here, the $404,970 compares to the subtotal $413,006. And the 404 also includes that escalation. So that escalation was above and beyond that proposed amount. So we came in a little bit under budget on the base bids. Once you include all of the, like the construction management fees, the architect fees, graphics, the fixtures, furniture, and equipment, and other miscellaneous expenses, it brings our base bid amount to $633,361. Our estimated was $682,418. So again, a little bit under budget. That does give us some room to look at alternates. So we had 3 alternates on the project. The hub study rooms that would add 2 conference rooms in the hub. We had the interactive zone wall cubbies that's on the Lindsay room wall, the new Lindsay room wall near the feature area on the main floor. And that's kind of an architectural element. And then a replacement of the water cooler, bottle filler, or our water fountain in Kids World, and the tile behind it. So looking at the amount of money that we have remaining and the priority in which we would like the alternates accepted, we are proposing to accept alternate 1 and number 2, and then we could reconsider number 3 down the line for when we redo the restrooms or something. We could look at including that there. So Brooke, do you have anything you'd like to add on the
No,
process? Or?
I was gonna say it's a great turnout, actually. So we had the lowest 3 bid packages for a trade up to 7 bid packages. So we did have quite a few bidders, more than I actually had thought. So that was great. And then I personally interviewed the low contractors, the low bidders, to scope review, make sure they understood the scope of the work, and all of them are great contractors. I'm currently we've worked with all of them on our projects. I'm working with 3 of them currently right now on other projects I have going on. And then personally work with 5 out of the 6 contractors. So you have a great bunch of, actually a great group of contractors that are coming in. So we're excited.
Andy, do you have anything you'd like to add?
Yeah, just very quickly. Good evening, everybody. Thanks for letting me join via Zoom tonight. I just wanted to add that, obviously this project has been a long time in the making. We've had some very careful and deliberate discussions with you as trustees and with staff to fine tune the scope of the project. And I think especially if we're able to get these 2 recommended alternates, that the scope of the project really hones in on what staff and in turn your customers have been asking for in this. It represents a good value. We still have plenty of contingency to address unforeseen conditions should they arise, and we're very happy with the results and hopeful to get started with construction this fall.
Great, thank you very much. Does anyone have any questions? Yeah.
Are the subcontractors open shop or are they
All
union? They're all
Union.
signatory, correct? Okay, yeah, I assume that. Thank you.
For the tile area, maybe I'm just too DIY. Is it possible to just maybe paint them? Just to give it a refreshed look, that would be a gallon of paint versus like tearing out the tiles and the drinking fountain. I mean, I'm just thinking to make it hold together.
I would
I don't know
defer
if it's
to
worth
Andy.
doing. It was just an idea.
Yeah, that's great question, Andy. Yes, we can absolutely look at that. As we're thinking about this and the potential to renovate those 2 existing bathrooms in a future fiscal year, that would be a good time to do that tile work, since we'll already have similar work and other plumbing going on. But we could absolutely look at that. It's a little tricky to paint tile, but with the right prep and the right product, it is something we could look at.
It's just a thought, because I mean, it really wouldn't take a lot, and it certainly wouldn't be $7,000 worth of work.
Yeah,
So-
and those are the kinds of things that should the project be proceeding well with not a lot of discoveries or unforeseen conditions, we can always get pricing if we want to do that and add it within the budget that we already have. It should be a relatively low line item to do that if we want to do that for a while to hold it over until we're able to replace it. Because we also did want to replace that drinking fountain with a new bi-level unit with a bottle filler as well. But aesthetically, I see what you're getting at, and we can do that.
Well, I'm really thrilled that we get the hub study room
Yeah.
because that's something I really wanted. So it sounds like, you know, our rooms are very much in use during finals time and other times as well. So that's great. Yes.
Quick question about the interactive cubbies. Does that price include like the actual interactive component, or is it just the construction?
That's just the construction of it.
Okay,
So, yeah, I believe our friends supported the interactive items
Okay.
that are.
Okay. thank you.
Anyone else?
I just want to point out that in the base bid, we did include the entryway, the enhanced entryway, and the removal of the soffit that was, that's in Kids World currently. So we were originally talking about including those as alternates to make sure that our base bid was under budget. And the soffit removal was 28,500 is what our estimate was. So, you know, moving that into the base bid really shows that these numbers came in quite favorable for us.
Maybe our timing was right after all.
Right.
All right, I would like to entertain a motion.
I'll move that the Board of Library Trustees accepts the base bid results plus alternate 1 and 2 for a total project amount of $695,229. Plus a contingency amount of $4,024 for a total not to exceed $699,253 for the updating of.
A second.
Let's take a roll call, please.
Trustee Burrell,
Yes.
trustee Gala,
Yes.
trustee Kelly,
Aye.
trustee Meadow,
Yes.
trustee Rule,
Aye.
president Samara.
Aye. Great, I'm excited to get
Perfect, thank you, me
started.
too. Thank you, guys. Have a
Thank
good
you.
night.
Thank you, everybody. Have a great night.
You too.
Thanks, Amy.
Thank you.
Oh, God, good. You never get it off the ground.
All right, so let's look at revisions to the human resource policy regarding emergency closings.
Okay, so next up, we have a human resource policy that we brought to the committee of the whole on June 5th. After discussion, our staff did make a change to the last paragraph in the policy, stating the executive director has provided the discretion to make decisions regarding the payment of additional work hours that have been authorized for special projects on the day when an emergency closing occurs. And this was based on the discussion on the, you know, what conditions allow for, you know, pulling back hours for special projects if the library is closed due to an emergency, or if it's considered scheduled, is that paid? So that puts it kind of on a case-by-case basis, and we'll make those decisions internally.
All right, makes sense. I would like a motion for the Board of Library Trustees to adopt revisions to human resource policy on emergency closing.
So moved.
Second,
A second.
let's take a roll call, please.
Trustee Burrell,
Yes.
trustee Gala,
Yes.
trustee Kelly,
Aye.
trustee Meadow,
Yes.
trustee Rule,
Aye.
president Samara.
Aye. All right. Moving on to the review and acceptance of our annual financial report. This is the audit.
Okay, yes, so this is the audit that you saw at the May Committee of the Whole meeting. Martha Trotter, our auditor, is joining us via Zoom this evening. And Tracy Sarah is also here. in support of approving this one. So Martha, I'm going to turn it over to you if you have any comments on anything that's changed, or you'd like to give a quick summary as to anything that you'd like to summarize since the May Committee of the Whole meeting.
Sure, thank you. Thank you, President and trustees, for having me here tonight joining you on Zoom tonight to present to you the results of the audit for the fiscal year ended December 31st, 2022. I'd just like to highlight within the annual financial report is where you'll find our independent auditors report. And I am pleased to be able to present a clean, unmodified opinion on the library's financial statements. And that is the highest level of assurance that we can provide. That is in accordance with our procedures that we performed in accordance with generally accepted auditing standards. I'd always like to extend our team's appreciation to the library's finance team for all of the hard work and effort that goes into preparing for an audit. We ask for a great deal of information. I just like to highlight that always. We were able to complete our audit testing very timely and issue the reports and had minimal changes to the unadjusted trial balances that were provided to us. There is a section in the annual financial report titled the Management's Discussion and Analysis. So if you haven't had a chance to review that, I do highly recommend reading through the MD&A section that's prepared by the library's finance staff. It provides a great deal of context to the information, to the balances in the report itself, and adds some comparative analysis to prior year audited information, and gives a little bit more context than the financial statements themselves. Also, we have issued the board communication where we would note if there were any material weaknesses or significant deficiencies or other deficiencies that arose as part of our audit testing. As discussed in the Finance Committee meeting, there were no items that rose to those levels, and the audit adjustments that are included in the board communication all related to either transition to the new accounting system or the adjustments related to the net pension liability and OPEB adjustments that are part of the annual audit procedures. So just really wanted to highlight the appreciation that we have to the library's staff and in all the preparation and hard work to be able to provide clean reports and clean audit opinion. And I can open it up to any questions.
Well, thank you very much for this. This is such good information, and for someone who's not really a numbers woman, I found like I could understand it. So that's great. It's in English too. We appreciate that. Tracy, did you want to say anything? I'm sure this took a lot of your time too.
No, I would just echo Martha's comments that her and her team are also very wonderful to work with. And I think this was one of the smoothest audits I've been a part of, whether here in my previous role. But really a testament to her and her team and just the communication between our groups, especially given the Munis transition being so complex and right at year end. So certainly that's smoothly given everything else that's going on. Great.
Wonderful. All right, I will entertain a motion.
I move that the Board of Library Trustees accepts the annual financial report for the year ended December 31st, 2022.
And I have a second?
Second.
All right, let's take a roll call, please.
Trustee Barad,
Yes.
trustee Gala,
Yes.
trustee Kevin,
Aye.
trustee Neto,
Yes.
trustee Rule,
Aye.
president Smart.
Aye.
Thank you, Martha. Appreciate you joining us.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Still working with numbers, looking to adopt our 2024 budget targets.
Hey, I would like to invite Tracy Sarah to the table to give you an update on the targets since our last discussion at the June 5th Committee of the Whole meeting. Tracy, take it away.
One update, and that's all. Actually, I did mention it even at the Committee of the Whole. So after the Committee of the Whole materials went out, but before we talked that evening, we had gotten a hold of our representatives at LIRA, our insurance consortium that helps with our premiums and all of our package policies. And they had indicated they expect conservatively a 15% increase to our premiums, given the tough market conditions in the insurance industry right now. The previous schedule that you looked at the committee of the whole had shown a 20% increase. So this now just reflects the 15% increase. Other than that, no changes to what was discussed at that meeting.
Does anyone have any questions?
I move the Board of Library Trustees adopts the 2024 budget targets with updated information to be included as it becomes available.
All right, let's take a roll call, please.
Trustee Burrell,
Yes.
trustee Bella,
Yes.
trustee Kelly,
Aye.
trustee Meadow,
Yes.
trustee Rule. President Simmer.
Aye. Thank you. All right, and moving on to looking at issuance of non-resident library cards.
Okay, so this was another discussion carried over from the committee of the whole on June 5th. Each year about this time, the board affirms its commitment to continue to offer non-resident fee card option. To date, 4 non-resident fee cards have been purchased, with an additional 9 cards being supplied to minors at no charge in alignment with Public Act 102-0843. So as discussed at the June Committee of the Whole meeting of the options for figuring the cost of the card, staff do continue to recommend using the general mathematical formula, which will make the new non-resident fee $474, starting at the end of this month, going through July 1st of 2023, or I'm sorry, 2024. June 30th, 2024.
Worth a lot,
It is,
our library
that's right,
card. All right.
and it's a bargain
Yeah,
at price.
I will entertain a motion.
I'm move that the Board of Library Trustees affirms its continued commitment to offering a non-resident library card option under Public Act 92-0166 and sets the annual fee for the card using the general mathematical formula method at $474, effective July 1st, 2023, and running through June 30th, 2024.
All in favor?
Second.
Oh, sorry, second. Carol. Okay, all in favor? Aye. Any opposed? No. Thank you. Right, any new business? No, well, I'm going, and I know that trustee Burrell is also attending. I don't know if trustee Nettle is, the American Library Association.
We're taking 100 people down on Monday.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Are you really?
That's a
Well,
good trip.
we have an in with Baker and Taylor and they're funding the whole thing. Well, not the buses, but they funded the fee. So we didn't even have to pay the $40 per person. So I left it open to the staff because getting another bus would have been another $2,000. So we have, I think, a little over 100 people going. Yeah, yeah.
Nice.
So I'm going with them to try to do that on Monday. Probably I won't attend any meetings, just go to the exhibits.
Good. I attended at the library last week, a Wider Lens, I think it's called, and it was hosted by well, Deb Smart was a facilitator, but it was hosted by, totally know him. Yeah, Neil, yes. And it was a film, a viewing of something that's available on Netflix called A Secret Love. And it was really, really good. So if you have 80 minutes and you're looking for something to watch on Netflix, it's a love story. But what I also loved about it was it had all this old footage of Chicago in the 40s and 50s, like Oak Street Beach and Michigan Avenue. And then the modern day stuff was filmed via iPhone, which I didn't even know. But, you know, as a filmmaker, that would be much more affordable. So anyway, I thought it was really good. So I appreciated that. And it was very mixed audience. And yeah, I think everyone enjoyed it. So that is that. Yes.
I just have one piece of new business. I heard from a customer that was curious about, I think this is a question for collection services probably. They mentioned that a lot of the copies of the classics that we have are in kind of rough shape. So just mention maybe that's something we want to. look
Okay, I'll
into.
pass it on.
Thanks.
I also am beating a dead horse, but I've had a couple of constituents reach out regarding the hours for the maker place. And again, requesting it to be open on Fridays for customers to be able to come in and utilize the space. And I know I've talked about it before, but there are, you know, a lot of people who take a long weekend and that normally are at the office or whatever, that would be an opportunity for them to come in and utilize the facility, when normally they couldn't during the week. And that maybe things during the weekend don't work for them for a variety of different reasons, but, I know personally, I have also been like, oh, look, it's not open today, I can't go. But, you know, it's not about me, but I know that it's one of those things that like, if I can't, then somebody else can't. And then I'm also hearing gotten a couple of emails and things like that from even a former staff member here that was like, I'm working, so I can't go. And then when I could go, I can't because it's closed. So, you know, I just think that it's something that we need to maybe try to look at and reevaluate and, you know, possibly shuffle staffing around or whatever. And you know, that's never a comfortable conversation. But, you know, I do think it's something that we need to look at for our community. So,
Maybe as budget targets are put forth for the next budget year too.
Yeah.
Another day would be great. It does seem busier now than ever before, which is great. And I love seeing on social media or whatever, what people do, like the guy that made the Bulls court for his, you know, backyard basketball. That's awesome. So, very good. All right, yes.
Yes, yeah. So I, the other non-business, I was able to attend the City of Support graduation this weekend. And the reason that's relevant to the library is that the library, we have the accessibility collection that is unique here at the Arlington Heights Library. And so, and the library had a booth there, and they echoed the same sentiment that I was getting from participants. So basically, City of Support connects families that have children in therapy, especially that need that have feeding tube, for example, but a wide array of therapy, and really connects those families together. So they have that support. But just that many people mentioned that they wish their library would have that same collection, because we not only offer the reading material or books, but actually physical, like the wobble stool. I'm sure there's a really good technical name that I messed up, but it's just really cool and really proud to be part of the library in attendance there. So thanks for doing that, and you know, having a presence there too. It meant a lot to the families that were there. They came from all over the Northwest suburbs, and even further than that. So that's all. Thanks.
Great. All right, I will entertain a motion to adjourn the meeting. So moved. All in favor?
I'll second.
Thank you. I will remember that next time. All in favor?
Aye.